What's up, loves? How you doing? Today I want to talk about our inner child. A lot of people, particularly a lot of my clients, when we bring up or discuss inner child work, a lot of it is cringeworthy, right? That sounds so stupid. That sounds icky. Like, I don't want to be like babying my inner child. Well, something came to me in my meditation today that might shed some light on this. The reason why you might be so resistant to working with your inner child is perhaps because your inner child was never allowed to be a child. If you experienced violence, abuse in your home as a young person, your inner child had to grow up very quickly. Zara's feeling it. Your inner child had to come out of being a child very fast, very rapidly. The reason why you might react to maybe talking in a childish way to yourself, to your inner child, is because that may not even be the language your inner child speaks, right? If your inner child had to grow up so fast that they actually missed that space of being a child. So their language isn't even baby talk or childlike language. You might be able to just straight up say, hey, self, younger me, little child me, how are you? What do you need? What were you missing? You might be able to have just a full-on regular adult conversation with them because they had to step into that role so soon. So if you're put off by inner child work in general, just the sound of it, like, oh, I don't want to do that. That sounds like so babyish or childish or like useless or silly or stupid, and it doesn't resonate with you to work with your inner child that way, then I invite you to instead, she wants to be in the spotlight. Come be in the spotlight. I invite you to instead perhaps open a conversation with your inner child that is just the way you speak today, because chances are your inner child already speaks that adult grown-up language. For me personally, right? This is what came to me. This witnessing of my parents chasing each other around the island in the kitchen with knives. And I was holding my brother, my baby brother, and I don't know, I didn't know what to do in that moment, but I had to grow up real fucking quick to figure out I'm okay, I'm safe. And I never was able to give myself that reassurance that everything is fine, because what I was witnessing was extreme violence between the two people that created me and my brother, right? So I'm not blaming them. They're not at fault, right? These are circumstances that I believe we choose and we come into. I do my work and I've forgiven them completely. It's not their fault. This is about coming into the state that you are in your life right now, taking ownership of the responsibility you have to yourself to create that safety and security for yourself that you never had, right? And this all came to me through the past few days. I have been in a massive deep depression. And what came to me today when I finally, Mercury and Mars just came out of retrograde, and the full moon in Cancer, this like hyper emotional energy, this really, really dark energy that I had been really affected by. What came to me was that my depression is perhaps me needing to just cry for days, and how that could be linked to my inner child, because my inner child never got to just cry for days. First of all, no one really heard her cries, and she had to be, the protector of, even though it probably, she didn't succeed, but she felt like she had to be the protector of her younger brother. She felt like she had to, maybe even that she was responsible for what she was witnessing, and that she needed to do something to help it, and didn't even realize it. That's not baby talk, right? That's not like, oh, where does it hurt? That's like, damn girl, you had to resolve for yourself how to make yourself feel safe, and possibly you never did it effectively. I don't think I ever did it effectively. And so depression that comes to me It's not, it doesn't announce itself, right? It just like comes in and it's like, today you depressed, knock you out, lay down and cry, curl up in a ball, everything's terrible, you're not safe and you suck and everything you've ever done is wrong and bad and you're not worthy and all of this shit comes up. And so what I linked it to today, and it may be possible for you as well, that it's linked to your inner child that needed so desperately to create a sense of safety and security from themselves, but never were able to. And so that's why this Cancer full moon is so poignant right now, because it's all about caring for yourself, creating that safety, creating that security for yourself. And for me, I need to curl up in a ball and just like hug myself for days. It literally has been like 5 days that I've just been so deeply sad, crying, and all I could do is lay in bed. A lot of times that's what you need though. To feel safe, you need to just know I can just lay here and cry and it's okay. And that we're missing so much of that in all of those moments. Think about all the traumas that you've had over the course of your lifetime, and then the lifetime that happened on top of that where you did not heal it. You've been living through trauma response, not feeling safe, not feeling secure, not knowing how to parent yourself, to nurture yourself, to nourish yourself. And then you come to a place where you're finally releasing it, right? You're getting into these deeper states of depression, and it's necessary. It is actually what you need. You need to be laid out, to not engage with the outside world, to just go within and sit with those terrible feelings, because that child, your inner child, never really experienced that feeling because their nervous system went into hyper stress response, right? Just like, if something ever happened to your child or, a family member or a loved one, you would your body just naturally, your brain shuts off everything that hurts you because you're in survival mode. You just do what is necessary to survive. This is why people have PTSD from their young life situations, from their families, from, especially like war, and how it is also PTSD to have experienced those really traumatic scenarios and to not ever have processed it, to never have felt those deep hurt feelings, that fear, right? That like incredible fear, like, am I gonna get, like, is somebody gonna turn a knife on me? Like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna is somebody gonna, is like my dad gonna kill my mom? Is my mom gonna kill my dad? Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's so fucking scary. So I mean, I consider that to be one of like the more, I guess, normal, unfortunately, scenarios that you could see. But imagine if you had been then, you know, physically assaulted, abused. Imagine if you have been sexually assaulted and abused. Imagine if that abuse continues for however long it continues. I'm saying this because your inner child work is actually important. And it's okay if you feel like that's stupid, like lame shit that like it doesn't strike a chord with me. That makes fucking sense, because it might not make sense to you that there is even a little child within you, because that little child had to fucking be an adult, right? It had to, that mechanism in your brain forced you to be able to cut off anything that you needed so that you could just survive that scenario. And so this is the work of getting in touch with your emotional body and your psychic energy as well. So just reconsider maybe that the fact that you're so adverse to doing any type of what's called inner child work, maybe you can call it whatever works for you. My little adult, because they had to grow up. They were forced to. And if it's always been something that you're resistant to, just try to close your eyes and for a moment connect. Put yourself back into that scenario where you felt unsafe, you felt insecure. Of course, get yourself to a space where you know you're not going to be bothered, where you do actually feel safe and secure. Close the door, lock it, whatever you need to do, right? This is creating sacred space for ourselves. And then dive in by just visualizing, thinking to yourself, trying to remember those instances where you were a child and you were fucking scared, or it was terrible. You had sadness, you had anger, you had frustration, you had hurt. Let yourself go there and then just see what comes up, right? This is a lifelong process. I say this, number one, so that if you suffer from and struggle with or trying to thrive and grow through depression, this might be one of the things that is the cause of your depression. And I say all of this so that it might be a bit reassuring to you if you're going through it, right? That you're not just crazy. It's not just like, because depression, oftentimes we can't find the source of it. We're just like, why am I so fucking sad? Why do I want to kill myself? I, like, it doesn't make actual sense, because you're aware. It's like, it's similar to postpartum depression, right? It's another form of depression. It's like you're aware of how blessed you are, of how wonderful life is. You know that. And yet you still have that feeling within, this is awful. Something is really wrong. And that maybe this is one of the ways you can begin to unpack where it's coming from and just let yourself be fucking sad. Let yourself be depressed instead of trying to, change it and come out of it. And I need to fix this depression. I need to like take a pill and stop being depressed. No, we don't need to change it. We don't need to fix it. We need to exist within it and befriend it. So today, I hope this revelation that came to me, wherever it comes from, this insight from the divine, is my belief that it might help you to, number one, make more sense logically of, if you're suffering from depression, one source that it might be coming from, and then also number two, to maybe actually do some inner child work if it's always like turned you off and you've been like, I don't want to do that. That sounds so baby like. It sounds so sissy. It sounds so, lame. I don't need to do that shit. Try instead using adult words, because your inner child might not speak baby talk. Your inner child might be like, yo, that shit was fucked up and I'm ready to talk about it with somebody. So you are you, right? You know your language the best. So what works for you? How can you get through to you? So try having a conversation with yourself. Another thing, just to close here, because I just wrote some stuff down to make sure well, actually, it was just channeling through me. I couldn't do anything but write it all down. Your inner child might not want to play, right? There's this trend in speaking about inner child work that they might just want to like play a game or like be lighthearted, be a child. But perhaps just try it on and see if it resonates. Perhaps your inner child does not want to play, because in that moment, just using my example as a reference, in that moment, ain't nobody feel like playing. I don't want to take out, Monopoly or, play with dolls. I need to feel like I am going to not die. So, the conversation isn't always like, oh, you never played with me. These are just, case examples that other people have given that, yeah, eventually your inner child might need to play. But maybe the first step is just saying, hey, I see you. You went through this really fucking challenging experience. You're traumatized by it. You don't feel safe. You don't feel secure. You're having a really hard time finding happiness. Let's just talk about what happened. What can you remember? Because chances are they might be an adult already, right? They were forced to grow up that fast because what they were experiencing was not a game, was not playtime, was not comfortable, was not safe, was not happy. So just to give you another alternative to what I've learned as inner child work, right? What does your inner child actually need? Maybe they need some straight dope, right? Straight talk. Just talk to them because it's you, right? You have the most authentic voice to talk to your inner child because you are them. You are them right now. You were them before. You are also your future self and your higher self all wrapped up in one. So I hope this helps you. Just see if there's anything else here. Yeah. I hope this sheds some light on perhaps your experience of inner child work. If you experience depression, perhaps this gives you a little bit of understanding about one possible root cause of it. And if you would like to speak about it more, I am a holistic coach. I'm more than happy to speak with anyone. I offer first complimentary sessions to have a breakthrough coaching call with me where I just ask you questions, right? This is different from therapy in that I don't, it's not like a lot of people who refer to therapy always say like, oh, I think you're going to ask me like, how does that make me feel? That's not the question or the terminology with coaching. The questions are, how do you want to feel? What resources do you have that work for you? And what are we going to put in place to help you move forward through this? What are we going to do? Do we need to do some inner child work, as shitty as it might feel at first? Okay, how are we going to do that? What's the next step? Just in 1 week, what's the next step? What are you going to do this week? One thing, right? We're just evoking awareness around ourselves and our process so that we can grow more fully into who we want to be, how we want to experience life, right? I don't want to experience life in a deep depression. I don't, but it happens to me. So it happens for a reason, I believe, to help us tap into greater awareness about who we are, where we came from, and how we provide safety and security for ourselves, how we love ourselves. And maybe the first step to that is liking ourselves a little bit more. And what better way to like ourselves than to accept what we are experiencing? It's okay if you suffer with depression. It's not bad. It's not wrong. You don't deserve it. You didn't do anything wrong. And there is something that needs to be seen, that needs to be revealed and processed through you. And that is the only reason you're experiencing any suffering, just for greater awareness. I love you. I hope this was helpful. Please reach out to me in the comments below or just direct message me if you would like to take me up on the offer to have a complimentary breakthrough coaching session. This is what I do. This is what I love. This is what I'm here on this planet for. So please take advantage of it. Yes, my coaching does have a cost moving forward after the first call. You may not even want it. You may not even need it, right? But it's available to you and we can discuss pricing that also works for you if that's something that you feel would help you, would be supportive of you in your process. And if not, that's it, babe. It's just a call, just an hour. It's a little tricky with me because I'm in a different time zone. I'm here in Cambodia. So it's the exact opposite AM to PM as Eastern Standard Time, if that's any help. But if you reach out to me, I'll send you the link. You'll be able to find in your schedule what time works for you because the link shows up in your time zone. And it directly links to setting up a call with me. It's via Zoom. Any other questions you have, please feel free to ask. I love you. Here's wishing you and your inner child an awakening experience. And whatever you're experiencing that is really negative and hurting you, here is wishing you just awareness of what that is here to tell you. It's all love, babe. It's all love. It's just a learning process. That's all we are. You're not being punished. You're not being, trying to be forced to see something that you're doing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. You're exactly where you need to be. You're doing exactly what you need to do. And I'm here to hold space for you. That's what I do. I love you. Toodaloo. Till next time. Thanks for being here.